This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I've always had a love for music, especially singing. After I would come home from daycare when I was a little kid, I would sing to my mom in the car these little songs. She'd be like, where'd you learn that? Right from the beginning, I was a singing little bird. I would sing in the car, on walks, and I would belt out every song I knew in the bathtub. When I recognized I had this talent for singing, my dream was to be like Taylor Swift. When I told my mom about this dream, she immediately was all for it. She also informed me that Taylor Swift knew how to play the piano. I told my mom, no, Taylor Swift plays the guitar. But I learned, once you know how to play the piano, you can play any instrument. So at the age of 4, I began my journey of uncovering my talent. I took piano lessons, and even in 2020, I would have lessons via Zoom with my aunt who is a pianist. After a while, I told my mom, hey, I'm getting pretty good on the piano, and she was happy the lessons were helpful for me. But I found out from my mom that Taylor Swift also takes voice lessons. Ugh, more lessons? Yes, I started taking voice lessons once a week, and I must say I'm very glad they were private. I will give you a little sneak peek of what I was doing in voice lessons. This is what I call a dying moose. Oh! I know, right? All the famous opera singers do it, and it was a helpful exercise. I also learned that a great entertainer knows how to dance. So, even more lessons, dance and gymnastics. Have you ever noticed when someone is asked, what is your talent? They answer you with a skill. When someone is asked, what is your skill? They answer you with a talent. Is there any difference, or are they the same? A talent is your natural ability. You're born with it. A skill is a learned ability that you develop over time. And in fact, the Webster's Dictionary officially defines skill as a developed aptitude or ability, a learned power of doing something competently. Talent is defined as the natural endowments of a person or mental power. Skills are what enable a person to use their talent. Skills take work, and it's not always easy. But once you recognize your talent, the work to uncover your talent is actually fun. You know it's for a purpose. And did you ever think that your natural gifts and your learned abilities are your power? Now it was time to entertain my talent. After all of these lessons, I could finally put them to use. I used to live in Washington, D.C., and I loved going to church, especially for the singing. One day, I went up to the pastor and I asked him, hey, could I be on the worship team? He looked over my head and told my mom, not even me, oh, we'll be starting a children's choir soon. 3 weeks later, I asked him again, hey, when's the children's choir going to start? He said soon. I asked him, well, how long is soon? And he just didn't answer me. Did you know Carrie Underwood started singing in her church when she was 3 years old? I hoped that since DC was a big city, someone might take a chance and invest in me, even though I was only 6. 5 weeks later, no news about the children's choir, so I moved on. When we moved to Western Maryland, we started going to a church in Hagerstown. We actually knew the pastor and his family. And one day, I went up to the pastor and I asked him, hey, could I be on the worship team? He gave a little chuckle and said, when you're older. I asked him, how old do I have to be? And he just didn't really answer me. A couple weeks later, I asked him again, hey, how old do I have to be? To be on the worship team? He just didn't answer me. A year later, we went to our first revival at a different church, and a family band was doing the worship leading. I told my mom, hey, there's a girl my age singing, so can I sing? This made my mom kind of nervous, and she said, later, honey. But then the band sat down for a break, and the pastor said, can we sing this just one more song? The band, however, was caught a little off guard and said, we actually haven't practiced that one. So the pastor looks at everyone in the church and says, does anybody know this song? And my mom says, Ellie does. Excuse me, over here. Excuse me, right here. Excuse me, yes, right here. Excuse me, yes, Pastor Ellie does. Excuse me. For your information, I had never heard this song in my entire life. But the pastor calls my name, and I went on stage, and somehow I sang this song. It was the first time I did a solo in public, and I thought I did a pretty good job. The worship leader thought I did a pretty good job too, and she said, do you want to keep singing? So I said, how about tomorrow? So I performed a special music song the next day, and things took off from there. I've now performed many times. Dance recitals on stage at the Maryland Theater, singing in the Library of Congress with the Librarian of Congress standing and clapping in the front row. I have medals and trophies from gymnastics routines. But my favorite opportunity so far has been singing in church. I've even had a couple of gigs where I was invited to perform special music at a church I didn't even go to regularly. I remember one time I laid on my bed one afternoon when I was 9, and I thought about my journey and how my mom and dad have helped me become who I am today. They pushed me to my limits, encouraging me all the way. Sometimes the best helping hand you can give is a good, firm push. Shortly after I started singing in church, I stopped. It felt like there was a boulder in my throat. And some Sundays, I didn't even want to stand when the worship started, much less lead worship. My mom and dad both noticed and tried to make me go sing on stage, but I made it an excuse to go watch my sister in the nursery. It was then I realized, when you recognize you have a talent, you're going to face an obstacle. You're going to face challenges as big as boulders. But to be able to share your talent and inspire others to share their talent, you must overcome these things. This is a reason I know talent is something you are born with. It is a natural ability unique to you, like a fingerprint. Something special that only you can share with the world. Doesn't it make sense? The world seems to run on money and power. And the power-hungry and greedy people want to have it all. Be expectant that when you are to uncover your unique talent, something, either a person or a problem, is going to want to smash your power. We need to persevere. We need to push through. When that boulder got in my throat trying to keep me from entertaining my talent and sharing it, my mom and dad kept asking, encouraging, and pushing me. But their pushing was annoying. And instead of getting me back to where I had prepared to be, I was allowing a good push to stop me from what I knew I loved. When that boulder got in my throat, it was tiny at first, like a little scratch, and I could clear it if I tried. But I noticed it would return, and when I didn't clear it, right away it grew. Suddenly a month passed, I hadn't practiced singing or piano, my notebook of songs was lost somewhere in the garage. And like I said, when people who loved me noticed, it was annoying. But not as annoying as the fear of realizing that my talent was suddenly buried. And the scary part of that was, if it was buried, was it lost and dead? Or could I uncover it? Can you lose your talent? This is the idea I'm sharing today. The unique talent that you're born with cannot be lost. It is your natural ability, and the world needs you to share it. I had to make a decision. This took strength, but it also took time. I wasn't born with a boulder in my throat, remember? I was born a singing little bird. It gives me a lot of joy to sing, and I've worked very hard. I don't want to let my hard work and years of waiting for an opportunity go to waste. My talent is my unique power. So today I want to ask, what is it that you bring to the world that you need to uncover or recover? Something special that you put away when an obstacle came against you. Maybe you got too busy. Maybe you became a mom. Maybe school or work at the most of your time. Or maybe it goes back to some time when you were my age and someone laughed at you or said you weren't good enough. Talent is not supposed to be covered up. It should be used, invested, and spent, not saved for a rainy day. Recognize today that your talent is power, and it's never too late to uncover it. So after all this, I figured out I can't be Taylor Swift. I can only be me. Thank you.